Discover how an arrogant billionaire's $30 million bet leads to an unexpected, life-changing romance. Jack Morrison was no stranger to luxury. The 35-year-old billionaire roamed the bustling streets of New York City, his sleek black car gliding past food carts, pedestrians, and the shimmering skyline. With a diamond-studded watch glancing off his wrist, he felt invincible. Yet, one fateful afternoon, while laughing off a bad date with his friends over martinis, he made a bet that would turn his world upside down. "I bet $30 million, he announced, his voice dripping with arrogance, "that I can win the heart of that waitress in the suburban diner." Across town, Mia worked tirelessly at a quaint diner, serving steaming plates of pancakes and comforting cups of coffee. At just 28, she embodied the American dream, the girl who balanced her mother's illness and mounting bills while always serving up a warm smile amidst clattering dishes. When her friends shared the news about Jack's audacious bet, dread pooled in her stomach. Was she just another trophy? Weeks passed. Jack crash-landed into her life like a glittering comet. Their first meeting was unlike any other. He stepped into the diner, drawing gasps and whispers while Mia's friends held their breaths, uncertain of what to expect. Their worlds collided, Jack's luxurious presence stark against Mia's humble charm. She tried to suppress her nervous laughter at his fancy shoes, while he chuckled at her tenacity. The diner felt alive, glued together by tension and humor. As days turned into weeks, their unlikely interactions took the form of earnest conversations. Jack saw the crack in Mia's armor, the way she lit up when reciting her dreams and the tender moments she shared about caring for her mother. In intimate conversations over coffee, he found warmth in her resilience. She was everything he never knew he wanted, authentic and unwavering. But whispers accompanied their blooming connection, gossip spread like wildfire in the neighborhood, people questioning whether Mia was just another conquest. Jack's bravado began to fade. The more he learned about Mia, the more he felt his heart pulled in a direction he never anticipated. A pivotal moment came when his bet, once a game of egotism, began to weigh heavy on him. During a late-night conversation, he found himself opening up about the hollowness of his wealth. "It's not about winning or losing," he confessed, gripping the edge of the booth. "What I want is what we have. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Suddenly, tensions escalated as Mia confronted Jack. She felt torn, caught between the allure of his world and the love she shared for her family. "What happens if you win? Do I become just another name on your list?" she asked, her voice a mix of hurt and anger, tears glistening in her eyes. Jack realized the stakes weren't about the money, they were about integrity, belonging, and a life filled with genuine connection. The weight of his decisions felt heavier than a mountain. Yet, as they faced each other amidst the noise of the diner, something undeniably hopeful flickered between them. Could he redefine what true love meant? Would Mia allow herself to step into his world, or would she protect what she had always known? As the chapter closed, anticipation crackled in the air, leaving readers questioning whether Jack could truly shed his old arrogance and whether Mia would let her heart venture into the depths of vulnerability. Jack stood in the diner, his heart pounding in his chest. Mia's words echoed in his mind, a haunting reminder of the gravity of his bet. He had never been one to consider the feelings of others, but now, faced with the potential fallout of his choices, he shattered his own boundaries. "Mia, listen," he pleaded, his voice trembling slightly. "I didn't think it would turn into this. You're not just a wager to me." He reached out, fingers brushing against her hand, desperate to connect and bridge the growing chasm between them. Mia pulled away, caught off guard by the heat of his touch. She shook her head, tears escaping down her cheeks. "But that's exactly what this is, Jack. Winning you over is a challenge to you. Just another bet that you'll win and brag about at some fancy gala. The weight of her words hung in the air. Jack's chest tightened. No. It's more than that. I don't want to impress anyone. I want you to see me for who I really am. She looked at him skeptically, trying to decipher the truth hidden behind his polished exterior. In that moment, the bustle of the diner faded away, leaving just the two of them adrift in a sea of uncertainty. Mia, he started, but she cut him off. Do you even know where I come from? Do you understand what my life looks like? Her chin quivered as she spoke, the anger still simmering beneath the surface. I want to know, he insisted. Take me there. Show me everything. I want to understand you. The sincerity in his voice took her by surprise. Would she really let him in? The thought ignited a mixture of hope and fear within her. Shaking her head in disbelief, she felt her heart race. What if you don't like what you see? What if it changes everything? I'm willing to take that risk, he said, stepping closer again, his vulnerability revealing a different Jack than the one who had swaggered into the diner weeks ago. Mia studied him, searching for the arrogance she'd first seen. But instead, there lay an unusual honesty. And what if you decide it's too much? What if you run back to your world of silk ties and boardrooms? I'll cross that bridge when I get to it, he said, determination radiating from him like a lighthouse beacon. But I want to find out what's on the other side with you. Inhaling deeply, Mia felt the barriers she'd erected begin to tremble. Could she allow herself to believe in something so uncertain? With a sigh, she looked away, the patrons around them carrying on with their breakfasts, oblivious to the emotional standoff unfolding between the two. It's not just me you'd be risking everything for, Jack. My family, they're depending on me. If this doesn't work, and if it does? His piercing gaze held hers, igniting a spark of something hopeful. But what if you get bored with me after all of this? What if you just walk away? She felt the weight of her doubt, hardly able to articulate the fear that gripped her heart. Jack inhaled, the intensity in his gaze unwavering. Then I'll have to deal with that. But for now, can you at least give me a chance to find out? Mia took a moment, weighing her heart against the walls she built to protect it. Her mother's illness loomed like a dark cloud. The bills wouldn't just disappear. But Jack's undeniable sincerity made her question her boundaries. Perhaps stepping into his world could spark some light in her own. As she finally lifted her head, uncertain yet bold, Mia took a leap. Okay, you win, Jack. I'll show you my world. But it's not a game. Jack's smile was radiant, but the realization of what lay ahead struck him. They were about to dive into something that could tear them apart or pull them together like they never imagined. Would stepping into the unknown strengthen their connection or push them into uncharted territory filled with heartbreak? Mia took a deep breath, uncertainty wrapping around her like a familiar blanket. Would both of them emerge whole on the other side? The diner felt different now, charged with a new kind of energy. Jack's heart raced as Mia's words sunk in. She had agreed to let him see her world, not just a glimpse, but the raw, unfiltered reality of her life. He had no idea what to expect, but he was ready to face it head-on. Okay, he said, breaking the moment of silence that hung between them. When do we start? Mia wiped her tears and drew in a shaky breath. How about tomorrow morning? I'll take you to my neighborhood first. It's not what you think, it's not glamorous. She hesitated, a shadow of doubt passing over her features. Are you sure about this? Absolutely, he replied, his smile less confident but filled with a resolute warmth. Show me everything. I want to learn, I want to understand. She nodded, still unsure but bolstered by his commitment. Meet me at the corner of 6th and Maple at 8. Jack grinned at the prospect, feeling an unfamiliar thrill run through him. After weeks of structuring deals in a world of polished corporate liaisons, this was a welcome change. He could already feel the mundane pressures slipping away, replaced by a sense of purpose. The rest of the day dragged on as Jack returned to his office. He found it hard to focus on the endless spreadsheets and meetings, his mind swimming with visions of Mia's world. What would he see? Would everything she had told him make sense? The curiosity bubbled like a fizzy drink, ready to burst. Meanwhile, Mia spent the evening contemplating the risk she was about to take. She scrolled through her phone, looking at pictures of her family and their struggles. The bills, the medical appointments, the uncertainty, it blurred into a heavy weight on her chest. She had promised herself she wouldn't let anyone play with her heart again. But could Jack be different? With quiet resolve, she folded herself onto her bed, closing her eyes and breathing in the stillness. Tomorrow would be revealing, but she didn't know how ready she was to bare her life to someone like him. Her heart flitted between anticipation and fear, unsure of where it would land. At dawn, the sun broke over the horizon, casting a golden hue across the city. Jack woke up with a jolt, nerves and excitement twisting within him. He quickly dressed, his mind racing with thoughts of how best to approach Mia's world. What if he failed to understand? What if he let her down again, as he always had with the people close to him? He arrived at the corner of 6th and Maple early, pacing the block, hands shoved deep in his pockets. As a few moments passed, he fought with the haunting memories of his past decisions. He refused to let doubt slip in this time. He'd show up as himself, as an ally. Then he saw her. Mia approached, dressed simply but with an effortless grace that caught his breath. She looked nervous, her hands fidgeting slightly at her sides. Their gazes locked, and in that instant, the world around them faded. "Ready?" she asked, a tentative smile tugging at her lips. He nodded, surprised by a sudden surge of determination. More than ever. As they began to walk, he felt her tension ease, even if just a little. Mia pointed out small landmarks, sharing snippets of her life that felt both foreign and familiar to him. The neighborhood buzzed with energy, life pulsing through crowded streets, a stark contrast to the sterile offices Jack was used to. But he began to notice more than just the scenery. The small bakery with the warm aroma of fresh bread reminded him of home. The laughter of children playing in a nearby park filled him with warmth, a bittersweet memory of his own childhood he hadn't touched in years. However, as they continued deeper into her world, he sensed a change in the air. Mia's narration slowed, her eyes flighting to each passing face with caution. There was a watched tension that wrapped around her, and the blissful moments began to crack like a foundation under pressure. "What is it?" Jack asked, concern nudging at his voice as he noticed her apprehension. Mia hesitated, her eyes darting to the ground as if searching for the right way to explain. Sometimes it feels like I don't belong here. Like I'm constantly fighting to prove something." As he watched her struggle to speak her truth, he felt the weight of their unspoken fears. Why was stepping into her world opening doors to feelings he never expected? Before he could respond, a group of familiar faces approached with a sense of urgency. Mia stiffened, recognition playing across her features, a mix of dread and resignation. "Jack, just stay close, okay?" The air thickened with unspoken tension, and Jack instinctively moved closer to her side, his heart pounding at the sudden shift in their atmosphere. What was about to unfold? Was this the moment that would define everything for them both? Mia's eyes widened as the group drew nearer, a cluster of familiar faces, each marked by an intensity that made the air feel electric. Jack sensed an undercurrent of danger as a tall man stepped forward, his eyes narrowing at Mia. "What are you doing here?" he demanded, his voice hard and full of accusation. Mia swallowed hard, her pulse quickening. I was just showing him around," she stammered, trying to maintain her composure. Jack felt her fear radiate like a heatwave. The tall man glanced at Jack with a sneer that made Jack's stomach twist, but he steeled himself. "This is none of your business, man. You don't belong here." "Maybe he does," Mia retorted, surprising even herself. She stepped forward with a newfound boldness, defiance sparking in her eyes. You don't get to decide who's allowed in my life. Jack felt a rush of admiration for Mia. This was the same woman he had met in a diner, where she wore her heart on her sleeve, but now, she was a warrior, ready to fight for her truth. He stepped closer to her, interlocking their fingers. He wouldn't let her stand alone. The group paused, taken aback by Mia's fiery spirit. But the lead man wasn't finished. You think you can just walk away? We need you back. You can't just turn your back on us. What do you want from me? Mia shot back, brandishing her emotion like a shield. I'm not a pawn in your game anymore. Jack's heart raced. This was a side of Mia he had never seen, one that revealed the strength buried beneath her vulnerability. He glanced around at the others in the group. Were they her past? Her family? What are you talking about? Jack interjected, feeling the need to understand. She's here with me, and I want to let you push her around. The lead man's expression shifted slightly, and Jack took it as a positive sign. You think you know her? He said, gesturing dismissively. You don't get it. She's still tied to us, Jack. You're in way over your head. The sentiment seeped into Jack's bones. There was more to Mia's story than he had realized. He had thought he was here to support her, but now it felt like the roles were reversed. Below the simmering conflict, he could sense a vast chasm of unshared fears and unresolved wounds. Mia's grip tightened around his hand. You don't get to control me anymore, she declared, and something in her tone stirred a glimmer of hope in Jack's heart. He took a deep breath, trying to anchor himself in the unfolding chaos. What do you want from her? He pressed again, his voice steady even as he sensed the tension rise. The lead man hesitated, his bravado cracking momentarily. Jack noticed the flicker of doubt in his eyes, as if he hadn't expected Mia to respond this way. She's got obligations. Responsibilities. The man trailed off, frustration boiling just beneath the surface. Mia isn't your responsibility, Jack declared, and the words felt like a vow. She's her own person. The group shifted uncomfortably, and Jack felt the weight of their stares, the intensity of their judgment. He wondered if they could feel the energy between him and Mia, the promise of something real and transformative. But then, the tension ignited again. The lead man took a step back, his face darkening. You'll regret this, Mia, he warned, gesturing for the others to follow. We'll be watching. As they turned to walk away, Jack let out a shaky breath, fear cascading through him. The threat hung in the air like a storm cloud, and he turned to Mia, searching her face for answers. Are you okay? He asked softly, not sure if the question could bridge the chasm of confusion between them. Mia nodded, but her eyes glistened with unshed tears. I didn't want you to see that side of my life. Why not? It's a part of who you are, he replied, his heart aching at the fragility he saw in her expression. We're in this together. You don't have to hide. With the shadows of the encounter still looming, Mia looked at him earnestly, vulnerability etched on her features. Something had shifted in their dynamic, but whether it was for good or bad, Jack wasn't sure. They stood there, the world bustling around them, unmoored and aware that real change was both frightening and exhilarating. Jack wanted to understand everything, wanted to dive deeper into her life, to be her anchor. But Mia's past loomed over them like an unshakable burden. Mia, he whispered, taking her hand again. What else do I need to know? Because I'm not going anywhere, not now. As her eyes searched his, a flicker of something familiar danced between them. But would it be enough to overcome what lay ahead? The air seemed to thicken with unanswerable questions as they faced an uncertain future together. What other secrets did Mia hold, waiting to be uncovered? And how would those secrets shape the bond they were slowly forging? Mia's breath caught as the reality of Jack's unwavering support settled deep within her. For so long, she had hidden the darker parts of her past, convinced they would drive anyone away. But here he was, refusing to let her push him out. It filled her with something raw and powerful, a mix of fear and hope. "Let us get out of here," Mia suggested softly, not wanting to linger under the weight of their encounter. Jack nodded, and together, they walked away from the unfamiliar faces that had once seemed so intimidating. As they continued down the street, Jack glanced sideways at her. What was all that about? Who were they? Mia's chest tightened. The words threatened to spill, but she hesitated. I used to know them. The group, I mean. They're part of a life I thought I had left behind. What kind of life? He asked gently, simplifying a question that felt overwhelming. Taking a deep breath, she pressed her lips together. The truth was not easy to share. They were like family in a way, but it wasn't a healthy family. They expected things from me, things I would never give. I just wanted to break free. Jack's expression softened. It sounds like they have a hold on you. But you already broke free, Mia. You don't owe them anything. His words lingered in the air, and she could feel the warmth of them wrapping around her heart. The truth was that Mia wasn't just afraid of the group. She was terrified of what they might do next, of the power they still had over her. Jack, she started, but he quickly interjected, his voice filled with gentle reassurance. You don't have to say anything right now. We can take this slow. Just know that I'm here. She looked up at him, seeing the sincerity in his eyes. It was a different kind of strength, one that offered comfort rather than intimidation. As they turned a corner, Mia spotted the old diner where they had shared their first meal together. A rush of memories flooded her, moments that felt like they belonged in a dream. They were simple, yet full of warmth. The laughter, the smiles, she cherished each one. Do you want to stop for a coffee? She asked, her heart yearning for a slice of normalcy after the chaotic encounter. Jack smiled, and it lit up his face. Absolutely. Inside, the familiar sounds of sizzling grills and clinking plates filled the air, soothing Mia's frayed nerves. They settled into a booth, and the waitress approached with a knowing smile as she poured 2 cups of coffee. Just like old times, Jack said, taking a sip and leaning back against the vinyl seat. Mia felt the tension gradually ease as they talked, sharing small stories, laughter hanging between them like a comforting blanket. But as much as she tried to enjoy the moment, the shadows of her past loomed at the edges of her mind. Jack, she began again, knowing the conversation wouldn't wait forever. There is something I need to tell you about why they're here. His brows knitted together in concern. Whatever it is, you can tell me. I promise. It felt like opening a floodgate. The words spilled out as Mia shared her history, her struggles to escape the ties that bound her to that group. When she finished, she looked into Jack's eyes, searching for a reaction. Would he walk away now? Would he regret his kindness? Instead, he reached across the table, taking her hand. It doesn't change how I feel about you. You're brave for sharing this with me. Hope flickered within her, but just as quickly, a shadow crept in. But what if they come after me? What if my past catches up? Jack leaned in closer, a determined look in his eyes. We'll face it together. You're not alone anymore. The promise of his words resonated in her, yet unease lingered. She wanted to believe him, but the reality of her past felt like a storm brewing on the horizon. Just then, a familiar sound, a ringing phone, snapped her back to reality. Jack's phone lit up on the table, the screen showing an unfamiliar number. Hold on, he said, his brow furrowing as he pressed the call button. Hello. Mia watched him intently, a worry clawing at her stomach. Who was calling him? Now. And was it connected to their encounter? Jack's expression hardened, and she could see the way he stiffened as the voice on the other end spoke. Wait, what? He exclaimed, his voice rising with urgency. Mia's heartbeat quickened, sensing a shift in the air. Jack, what's wrong? She asked, leaning closer, feeling the distance between them draw tight again. He ended the call, his eyes wide with realization. Mia, we need to talk. Now. A chill ran down her spine. What had he just uncovered? What new threat loomed over them both, pulling them back into a world they had barely escaped from? Jack's hands trembled slightly as he set down the phone, the shock evident on his face. Mia felt her stomach churn. The warmth of the coffee that had once comforted her now felt like ice. What did they say? She pressed, her voice almost a whisper. Jack took a moment before he spoke, as though gathering scattered pieces of a puzzle. It was Thorn, he said, his voice low. They've been tracking you, Mia. They know you're back. Mia froze, heart hammering in her chest. Thorn was synonymous with her past, an echo of everything she had fought to escape. What do you mean they know? How? Why? Apparently, they've seen you around. They want to meet. Jack's expression darkened, the reality sinking in for both of them. Meet? Mia echoed, her pulse racing. What do they want from me? The past rushed back, threats unspoken, ties that suffocated, and the deep-rooted fear she thought she had buried. Jack leaned forward, his muscles tense, eyes blazing with determination. We can't let them. I want to let them hurt you. A flicker of gratitude washed over her. Rich with compassion, Jack's words shielded her from the memories that relentlessly clawed at her resolve. But if they want to meet, that means they're serious. Her voice barely managed to remain composed. It could mean trouble. Jack shook his head vigorously. We'll come up with a plan. You'll tell me everything, every detail about them, what they might want. Maybe we can outsmart them. The thought of strategizing against her past felt surreal, almost ridiculous. Yet the weight of fear felt lighter when shared. I don't know if I can face them again, her voice quivered. Jack reached over the table once more, his grip warm yet firm. You're stronger than you think. Together, we can handle this. The reassuring promise soothed the anxiety building up inside her, though a stubborn part of her resisted. Mia bit her lip, emotions swirling. She had fought against this shadow for so long, seeking solace in the light of new beginnings, yet here it was again ready to swallow her whole. What if they want something from me? Something I can't give? Jack's gaze remained steady. Whatever it is, we'll figure it out. You're not obliged to go back to that. You don't owe them anything. But what if they, Mia? The urgency in his voice snapped her out of her spiraling fears. No what-ifs. We confront it head-on. Let us take back the control. As they sat in the diner, the smells of comfort food swirling around them, a flicker of hope ignited in Mia. Her heart warmed slightly at the thought of having someone who believed in her fight. Okay, she replied quietly, her voice steadier than before. But we need to be careful. They're unpredictable. Trust me, Jack said, a fierce glimmer in his eyes. We'll be 2 steps ahead. Just let me know everything. We'll create a plan. For the first time in a long while, Mia felt a sense of unity. There was reassurance in Jack's presence, a light in her darkness. As they talked about strategies, an unexpected knock on the diner's window caught her attention. A figure lingered on the sidewalk outside. Mia's breath caught in her throat. The unmistakable silhouette sent chills down her spine. Jack, look. She stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. Jack turned, and his face fell. It was one of them. Their eyes narrowed, intent on something unseen, as they scanned the diner. The realization hit Mia's past was closer than she had dared to fear. Let us go, Jack instructed, rising swiftly. They needed to get out before anything escalated. But as they stepped toward the exit, another figure emerged from the shadows behind the first. The tension intensified, a tightening grip around Mia's chest. Jack, we can't just walk out there, she said, panic rising. We need to move, now. He urged, motioning for her to follow him. But Mia hesitated, staring out at the figures that had once been the source of her pain. Would they finally confront her? Or had the storm of her past merely begun? The questions loomed as they rushed toward the door. As they slipped out, her heart pounded not just with fear, but with something else, an awakening. Perhaps this was the moment for her to face the demons she thought had long been buried. But would she find the strength? The door swung open, and the outside world hit them like a blast. The sun was setting, splashing colors across the pavement, but Mia didn't notice. Her eyes were locked on the figures. "Stay close," Jack whispered, instinctively moving in front of her as they stepped onto the sidewalk. The weight of the situation pressed down on her, and she fought the urge to retreat into the shadows. Jack projected confidence, but Mia's heart raced with uncertainty. "Are they following us?" she murmured, trying to keep her voice steady. Jack glanced over his shoulder. "Not yet. But we can't take any chances." She nodded, taking a deep breath and focusing on Jack's unwavering posture. Together, they moved away from the diner, heading towards a narrow alley that veered off the main street. "What if they call out?" she asked, worry sidewinding her resolve. The thought of confronting the past was chilling, but Jack turned to face her, his expression fierce. "If they do, we keep walking. We don't engage unless we have to," he said, determination lifting the corners of his lips. "Remember, they're not in control anymore. We are." A small part of her believed in those words, but doubt lingered, like a thick mist. They hurried down the alley, hearts pounding in sync, until they reached a quiet street. Only the distant sound of traffic filled the air, a stark contrast to the gravity hanging over them. "Do you have a place to go?" Jack asked, scanning the street as if it held the answers. Mia shook her head. Panic rose again, clawing at her insides. "I can't go home. Not with them so close." Jack took a moment, weighing the options. "Then we need to find somewhere safe. A hotel or a friend's place, someone who doesn't know your past. We need to think." She appreciated his efforts, but uncertainty lingered. "What if they know where I used to go? What if they find me again?" "Mia, listen to me." His voice softened with urgency. "We will figure this out. I won't let them hurt you. You have to trust me." The way he said it, with the fire of unwavering loyalty, pulled at something deep inside her. Mia took a step closer, feeling the warmth radiating off him like a shield. "Okay," she said, "but it can't be too obvious. We should blend in." Jack nodded, his eyes narrowing as he took in their surroundings. "There's a bus stop up ahead. Let us go there, and we can talk quietly." As they rounded the corner, anxiety shifted in her chest, merging with a rush of adrenaline. Despite the reality closing in on them, there was comfort in Jack's presence, an unexpected light in the shadows of fear. Once at the stop, they ducked behind a large, rusted sign while Jack pulled out his phone. "We'll check bus schedules. Anywhere else could be 10 times safer than here." While he scrolled, Mia glanced around. The weight of their situation felt surreal. Could they truly outrun this? Her mind spiraled with thoughts of Thorn, of everything she had tried to outrun. When Jack looked up, his expression was focused. "We could take a bus to the next town over. It's not much, but it'll give us some time. Just long enough to regroup." She hesitated, the idea of running away felt like giving in. "What if they follow us? What if they know?" "We'll stay one step ahead," Jack said, his gaze unyielding. "After all you've overcome, I believe in you, Mia. Don't let them win." His words hung there, powerful. For the first time, she felt the shackles of her past loosening just a bit. Maybe it wasn't about running away. Maybe it was about finding a way to confront it on her own terms. But deep down, questions burned. What if this was the calm before the storm? Just then, a voice echoed from the alley behind them. "Mia." Both of them turned. Her heart dropped. Had they already found her? They hadn't escaped just yet. Would she finally face what she'd been running from? The voice split the air like a crack of thunder. Mia's breath caught in her throat as recognition hit her. It was Sarah, her childhood friend, calling out her name as if she knew where Mia had been hiding all this time. The joy and fear tangled in her chest, making her dizzy. "Stay behind me," Jack whispered, his protective stance firming up. Mia grabbed his arm reflexively, uncertainty flooding her. "Jack, wait. It's Sarah. She won't hurt me. What if they're with her?" he asked, glancing back into the alley. Suspicion clouded his eyes. "No, I promise, just give me a second," Mia pleaded. Mingled adrenaline and curiosity propelled her forward. "Sarah!" she called, stepping into the dim light that filtered from the alley. She waved her arm as if it would bridge the gap between a painful past and a moment full of potential. The figure emerged, breathless and wide-eyed, looking around frantically as if she expected someone else to jump out at any moment. "Mia. I've been searching everywhere for you." Mia's heart squeezed at the depth of her friend's concern. "What are you doing here? How did you find me?" "I saw you leave the diner," Sarah explained, her voice rising in urgency. "Then I saw them. You have to come with me now." Jack's protective grip tightened around Mia's waist. "What do you mean, who are they?" "The guys who were looking for you. I recognized them. They're bad news, Mia. You need to get away." Fear punctured Mia's stomach again, but alongside it was an overwhelming wave of hope. This was an ally, an unexpected glimmer of safety. "Sarah," she was interrupted by another voice, deeper and more menacing. "Mia, we know you're here. There's nowhere to run." A chill ran down her spine. It was one of them. In that instant, she realized her time was running out. "Jack, we need to go. Now," she urged. Jack angled his body between her and the alley, determination etched on his face. "We're getting out of here," he said, glancing between Mia and Sarah frantically. "What's the fastest way?" "Back to the main street, then we can catch a cab or bus," Sarah responded, her eyes darting around. They started to move, urgency pulsing through them. As they hurried along the dimly lit street, Mia's heart raced not just from fear, but also from an overwhelming sense of being alive. "You'll be safe with me, I promise," Sarah said, almost as if sensing her doubt. "You don't have to do this alone." The words touched something deep within Mia, a fleeting memory of laughter shared over ice cream and secrets. But her past loomed, a storm cloud threatening to reel her back. Jack's hand in hers felt like a lifeline against the tide. "Just keep moving," he said, leading the charge. They approached the bus stop, but Mia's anxiety flared as she turned back. "What if they see us?" "Trust me," Jack replied, his voice steady and calm. "If they come after us, we won't let them take you again." Mia stood at the edge of the street, torn between the comfort of her old life and the terrifying potential of the new. But that sense of possibility cracked open a light inside her. Maybe running was the wrong choice. Maybe it was about standing up and being seen for who she really was. As the bus pulled up, anticipation and dread twisted within her. Questions raced through her mind. Could they outrun her past? Could she reclaim her life without looking over her shoulder? With a final glimpse at the alley, Mia stepped onto the bus, uncertainty swirling around her. Would this journey lead them to safety, or into the heart of danger? The doors closed behind her. What awaited them on the other side? The bus jolted forward, the sudden motion catching Mia off guard. She stumbled, instinctively reaching out to grab Jack's arm, her heart racing even faster now. Jack leaned closer, his eyes scanning the bus interior. The dim lights flickered above them, casting shadows that seemed to match Mia's swirling thoughts. What if they're already on this bus? Jack whispered, his protective aura still firmly in place. Mia could feel the tension radiating from him, like a coiled spring ready to snap. They won't see us, Sarah reassured, sitting down beside Mia and gripping her knee, her expression filled with a mix of determination and fear. Just stay calm. We can't let them see us sweat. Mia nodded, though her stomach nodded. How had she come to this? Just hours ago, she was hiding from shadows, and now she was running away with the echoes of a life she thought she'd left behind. Yet, with Sarah's presence, there was a flicker of reassurance that she desperately clung to. As the bus rumbled through the streets, Mia took a moment to breathe, trying to craft the words that bubbled in her mind. Sarah, why are you really here? It's complicated, Sarah replied, her eyes darting to the window. I just knew I had to find you, to make sure you were safe. We were always there for each other, remember? I couldn't let you go through this alone. A wave of warmth washed over Mia at those words, but the prickling anxiety didn't fade. How could Sarah just swoop in and promise safety when the threat felt looming and constant? Promise me you won't put yourself in danger for me, Mia urged, her voice trembling slightly. You have no idea what they're capable of. Then we'll figure it out together, Sarah replied fiercely. I won't let fear dictate our lives anymore. Mia turned her gaze to Jack, whose jaw clenched in concentration. Was he on board with this plan? They hadn't even discussed where they might go from here. What's the first thing we do when we get to the main street? Jack asked, his tone steady yet penetrating. Grab a cab, Sarah said. There's a safe house not far from here where we can lay low for a bit. Mia felt a shiver along her spine. A safe house. It felt surreal, like a scene in a movie. Would she really have to hide? A wayward quirk of fate had led her here, but at what cost? Look, just keep your heads down and don't make any sudden moves, Sarah said, her voice low but urgent. If they're following, we can't let them know we're onto them. Tension built as they approached the main street, their eyes wide as they scanned the sidewalks. Some pedestrians moved about their evening routines, blissfully unaware of the chaos brewing nearby. It was a stark reminder of how quickly danger could breach normalcy. As the bus slowed to a stop, Jack stepped off first, eyes alert like a hawk. Mia followed, her heart pounding with every step. Pushing through the rush of lives to grab onto safety, she reached for Sarah's hand, linking their past with the uncertainty of what lay ahead. What if they find us? Mia couldn't help but ask. We'll be ready, Jack said, the fire in his voice igniting something within Mia. She knew that, like a pebble thrown into still water, this moment could ripple into something greater. But as they rounded the corner and approached a line of waiting cabs, a familiar figure caught her eye, a figure from her past. The chill in her chest returned, sharper and more insistent. Mia, Jack whispered, following her gaze, horror dawning across his face. Just then, Mia's heart sank as she remembered all the ways she had tried to keep her head down. This wasn't the way she wanted to face her past. Run! She yelled, tugging Sarah along, dread spiraling inside her. But how far could they escape this time? Would standing to face her fears finally pay off, or would it cost her everything? With their breathless escape still ahead, Mia realized the boundaries of her old life were collapsing. What awaited them on the edge of this new path? The late afternoon sun flickered through the scattered leaves, casting dappled shadows on the sidewalk as Jack and Mia dashed down the street, adrenaline coursing through their veins. They couldn't stop now, they needed safety, and they needed it fast. But as she ran, a flicker of determination ignited within Mia. This was her moment to confront the life she had been running from, once and for all. Mia, where's the safe house? Jack called out, glancing over his shoulder for signs of pursuit. Just a little farther. She shouted back, fear and resolve intertwining in her voice. With each stride, she felt her fear morphing into strength. Sarah's hand squeezed hers, a lifeline amid the chaos. Overhead, the sky shifted from golden to an ominous shade, reflecting the battle waging inside her heart. They rounded the corner, plunging into a narrow alley that led towards a quiet street. Mia glanced back, her pulse quickening. The weight of her past lurked behind them like a predator. "Keep going," she urged as they pressed on. Finally, they reached the safe house, a quaint brownstone nestled between two towering buildings that weren't quite as inviting. The door stood slightly ajar, as if waiting for them. As they stumbled inside, Jack closed it gently behind them, and they were plunged into a hush that felt like a cocoon. "What now?" Jack asked urgently. Mia turned, breathing heavily. "We regroup. We can't stay here long, but we need a plan," she replied, heart hammering. With each second that ticked away, she sensed the urgency deepening. "It's time to face them, Mia," Jack said, stepping closer, his eyes blazing with determination. "Whatever they want, we'll confront it together." Mia hesitated, uncertainty rippling through her. "But what if they overpower us?" A childhood of insecurity bubbled up within her. Could she truly stand strong against her past? "They won tea. You know why? Because you're not the person you used to be." "And neither am I," Jack said, his voice steady. "We've both changed. You, with your strength, me, with a heart that has finally learned to care." Mia felt that touch of warmth. It was glorious and heartbreaking all at once. Could love really be here to help her rise? She nodded slowly, tears welling in her eyes. "You're right. No more hiding." Sarah chimed in, her voice brisk and clear. "We need to gather everything we know about them, who's in charge, where they meet, what they want." Taking a deep breath, Mia stepped further into the living room that felt like it was solidifying her resolve. "They want to manipulate me. They think I owe them something, but I don't." The weight of the realization shifted the shadows in her heart. As they talked, an unexpected calm washed over Mia. A faded photograph slipped from her pocket, a snapshot of her past, a group of friends, laughing beneath a summer sun. So much had changed since then, yet some pieces still echoed within her. Jack noticed her staring at the photo, and without hesitation, he stepped closer. "These were your friends?" "Yes," she whispered, remembering the fun, the laughter, and also the betrayal. "But they weren't real friends. They didn't see me. They only wanted me for what I could give them." "Then it's time to reclaim your truth. We're going to take control," he said firmly. Mia's breath quickened. She could hardly believe it, but a fire burned in her chest. "Let us move. We face this together." With renewed strength, they flooded the safe house with strategy, dissecting each memory, naming names, and planning their assault against her past. Time was slipping through their fingers, and urgency filled the air as the sun began to set. Hours passed like minutes as fear turned into purpose. They prepared themselves not just to defend against the darkness but to reclaim the narrative of their lives. No longer would Mia be a victim, she would be the architect of her future. Finally, Jack spoke up, his voice powerful. "Mia, if they come for you, we face them. We stand strong, and you don't have to fight this alone." "That's right," Sarah added. "We're in this together. It's time to expose the truth. No more shadows." Mia felt tears prick against her eyes. There was hope in her heart, a bond forging deeper with each word shared. Together then, she affirmed, determination wrapping around her like a shield. "Let us do this." They stepped out of hiding, and the world felt different. An electric jolt surged through her as they walked toward the door, heart steady, breath fueling their collective determination. The weight of the confrontation ahead loomed large, yet she sensed a new equilibrium had formed, an inner strength that cradled her fears and whispered that she could overcome. Just as they stepped outside, the air crackled with an unseen tension. Mia's eyes scanned the streets. A familiar glimpsed figure appeared in the distance. Heart racing, she pulled Jack and Sarah close, all eyes pointed toward the silhouette edging nearer. But as the figure drew closer, a revelation took hold. No longer would she be bound by fear. She was ready to face whoever had come for her, hand in hand with those who truly cared. In that moment, Mia knew. The past may have haunted her, but she wasn't going down without a fight. Not this time. "Jack," she whispered, her voice unwavering. "I'm right here." His hand tightened around hers, lending her his strength. "Together," she echoed, resolve flushing through her veins. "Together," came Sarah's confident reply. As the confrontation drew near, hope surged. This was their moment to redefine what love truly meant: whole, raw, and fearless. They would face the storm together and emerge victorious, ready to embrace the future waiting just beyond the turbulence. In the epicenter of her past and the dawn of a new beginning, Mia realized she was so much more than a victim in her story. In that moment of clarity, she felt not just hope, but liberation, a fierce sense of freedom wrapped in the ties of community and love. And as the figures approached, her heart thundered with strength. She was ready to stand tall, ready to fight for her future, no longer looking back at what had once held her captive. This was it, the final stand. Now, let us know what you think. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.